What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm just starting off, so I hope you like the content, and remember to click like, subscribe, and comment down below. Today we are going to be painting one of my favorite miniatures, the A-Bomb from Zombicide Morgue. So let's jump right in. We're going to want to start off by painting his shirt with Army Painter's matte white. And just so you guys know, I will be using Army Painter's Mega Paint Set for most of my videos. We're going to want to water down the matte white and just give it a light coat so the gray can still pop out, but not too much. It's kind of like a cheating shade effect. The gray will keep the color darker, whereas the white will brighten it up. So while we wait for that to dry, we're going to do the same thing to his upper body, and we're only going to paint his armor. It's basically the same concept, so there isn't really much to say. So when we're done, it should look something like this. Now we're going to start with his pants, and we're going to use Army Painter's Deep Blue. Straight out the bottle, we're going to want to add 2 coats, and just make sure to let it dry in between coats so it doesn't become globs of paint. And while we wait for the pants to dry out, we're going to want to mix Army Painter's matte white with deep blue. And we're also going to want to make sure to water it down, and just like we did earlier, we're going to just put a light coat over it. So I ended up skipping forward just a little so you guys can see that I ended up doing a second coat of deep blue on his jeans, and I'm going to go with another coat on his shirt. When we're done, we're going to want to mix Army Painter's Uniform Gray with deep blue, and we're going to want to water it down again, and we're going to add our final coats to the shirt. 2 coats should be fine, just make sure to let it dry in between coats. That's very important. Now that we got the pants and shirt done, we're going to move on to his belt buckle and belt. And we're going to use Army Painter's Necromancer Cloak for the belt and Plate Mail Metal for the buckle. Now that we're done with that, let's move on up to his upper body. We're going to want to start with Army Painter's Necrotic Flesh. And we're going to do the same thing like last time, just 2 coats should be fine. And we're going to just go over his armor. Alright, now we're going to move on to his skin and bones, and we're going to mix Army Painter's Barbarian Flesh with Skeleton Bone. Alright, now we're at the part where you can really put the paint wherever you want, but I'm going to use Army Painter's Crusted Sore, and I'm just going to put it where I believe his flesh is being torn apart. Alright, now when you think it's all good and done, we're going to move on to his boils. We're going to use Army Painter's Orc Blood and water it down, but make sure you don't do too much, because I ended up having to put 4 coats and we kind of want to thicken up where it should only take about 2 coats, so keep that in mind. Now that we're almost done, we're going to use Flesh Wash to make it look dirty and darken it up. And we're going to want to go all over the miniature except his pants and shirt. And now that we're done, you're going to want to go over the miniature with easy touch-ups. So we're going to highlight his boils with some Warlock Purple, give it a nice shine effect, and we're going to go back and repaint his jaw because I didn't like the way the blood looked. And now we're going to want to go over with some glistening blood, and same thing like last time, just put it wherever you think you want it, but make sure you stay close to the Crusted Sore so it blends in well nice. And this is what it should look like. We're pretty much done now. This is the basic version of painting the A-bomb, but let's continue so I can show you how I finish them up. So now we're going to go over the necrotic flesh with army green, and I like the color because it's going to make it a little darker. And when you're done, it should look something like this, and to be honest, I really like the way it looks. It looks a lot better. Okay, now here's the fun part. Now we're going to get some E6000 or some UHU, and remember to be patient because this is very time consuming. I believe it took me about 10 minutes to do, so maybe you could do it less, but that's how long it took me. And this is a cool little trick. When you're waiting for your glue to dry, we're going to make sure that the toothpick hangs off by itself without stretching the glue. And that's how you know you're basically ready to cut it. And just put it wherever you want or whatever you think will make it look good. But this is how I did it, and when we're done, we're going to add a base coat of crusted soy. And we're going to make sure not to cover the glue, but we just want to go around the base of the glue. And now you're going to want to be very generous with the glistening blood. And this is where you're going to finally paint over the glue and be very generous with it. This part's cool. We're going to get the glue and we're going to kind of rub it around roughly until it starts to bubble up and dry a little, and it's going to give it this torn flesh effect. It's to give his arm more depth and make it a little realistic, like his flesh is being torn out every time he stretches his arms. And we're done. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Remember to click like, subscribe, and comment down below. I will be posting a video once a week, hopefully on Fridays. And remember to check out my channel. And as always, remember to create, paint, and play. Till next time.